What's going on, all you Cinephella fanatics? Your two favorite rascals are back. I'm here with my good mate, Logan Myers. I'm Henry Hill, and we're here to talk about a brand new Apple TV Plus show that just premiered this weekend on Friday, starring a couple guys that you all know very well, Paul Rudd and Mr. Will Ferrell. And we're talking about The Shrink Next Door.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sexiest man of the year, Paul Rudd.
Not so sexy in this show, though. He has like a beer gut. He kind of let it go for this. So you can tell that they probably filmed this a couple of years ago, I'm sure. Yeah, just an interesting story. I didn't know what to expect. You said you hadn't watched a trailer before this,
Nope.
and I didn't either. I expected a straight up comedy.
So
We didn't get that with that. This is more of a, I mean, there are some comedic parts in it, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a straight up like drama, family drama. Will Ferrell, obviously Paul Rudd, and we also see Miss Agatha Harkness herself.
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn. Old Agnes herself, Catherine Hahn. We see her play Will Ferrell's sister, his character's sister in the show. So basically the synopsis is Will Ferrell plays this middle-aged guy who's inherited a business from his father. It's basically a fabric shop. You know, he works on curtains, different fabrics and everything. I think he's about to turn 40 years old, and he's kind of lost. You know, you can tell that things are missing from his life. He doesn't really know how to interact with people correctly. He seems very distant. And his sister senses it too in the beginning, you know, through their interactions. But basically, Will Ferrell ends up meeting up with Paul Rudd's character, Ike. Will Ferrell's character, Marty, ends up meeting up with Paul Rudd's character, who is a psychologist, to talk about his problems and hopefully, do something about it. I can't remember exactly how they met in the beginning, but somehow they came into contact with each other, and Paul Rudd was very charming, and he could tell that he could listen to people really well and analyze things and kind of tell them the truth on the spot. You could tell that he would be a good psychologist to talk to. They have a meeting, and basically Marty ends up agreeing to come in and talk with Paul Rudd's character Ike, and kind of see what's the problem, what's holding Marty back, why is he having all these feelings. Marty, he's very closed off. He's tough to talk to. He doesn't want to let go. He just says everything's fine. You can tell there's something boiling underneath of his character, but it's going to take some persuasion from Paul Rudd's character to get him to open up. And Paul Rudd is very persuasive in this and does a great job as the psychologist in this, I thought, in his interaction with Marty.
Yeah, Paul Rudd is just always fired in everything he's in, but has some good comedic bits in this first episode, playing Dr. Ike Hirschkopf. And then you have Marty Markowitz, played by Will Ferrell, that plays it pretty straight. Not a lot of comedy with this character, but he's the guy that's having some issues. Ends up going into The Shrink and meeting up with Paul Rudd, like word of mouth, somebody he knows. And he's playing it off. Marty's saying everything's fine in his life, he's happy, but as they start to talk, he figures out what's wrong with Will Ferrell's character Marty. People just walk all over him and use him, and he's a really nice guy, and he's trying to break him of that, and really sets up the rest of the episode.
Really does. Yeah, we see Will Ferrell, not being goofy and silly like he's been in, most of his movies. Obviously, we've seen him in a couple serious roles, but this one's one of the most serious roles, I'd say, so far. Just like him being this character, really inhabiting him. There's not a lot of straight comedy. It's just like most of the time you just feel sorry for his character. You can tell things have happened to him, and he's like in the shell and he needs to get out of it. It's funny because he's supposedly turning 40 in the show, because it takes place back in the 80s, and it takes we see some different time periods in this, but so they colored his beard and everything, make him look a little younger. But anyways, that's when we see him. This show is going to span I think a decade or two, over the current time and the time that they met. So it's going to cover a lot of ground in these 10 episodes. This one, if you were going in and you're expecting a straight comedy, kind of like a, kind of an Anchorman kind of vibe like that, you're not going to get that with this. There's no comedy. It's not like that. There is comedic parts, but it's more written like a drama, serious thing based on a true story of what happened to this guy and how the shrink basically is going to, take over his life in one way or the other. And, we're going to see why we saw that beginning glimpse in the pilot with Marty going around his party and breaking everything and trying to destroy everything in the yard there. You can tell that something bad happened to Marty with his shrink here, with Paul Rudd's character. So it's going to be really interesting following this for the next 10 episodes. I'm going to be following it. I had a good time with this. So it wasn't anything like I was expecting, but I think it's pretty intriguing, and just seeing these two guys work is enough to get me to definitely come back and watch the rest of the episodes.
I have to agree with you. I didn't really know what to expect, and I guess I was expecting a little more comedy with these two guys, especially Anchorman. They've worked in other films and they're comedic actors, but they played it straight. It's a good drama piece. It's dark comedy, I would call it. There's some really good chemistry again with Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd as always. But it's based on true events. There's a podcast of the same name. If you guys are out there listening to podcasts, check that out. But it's really interesting. I want to see how this develops over the 10 episodes, see how manipulative, the Doc Ike is with Marty's character and how much money he basically takes away from him and uses him. It's going to be really interesting how this all plays out. So it really has my interest. So it's a really good original series on Apple TV Plus that airs every Friday, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So that being said, The Shrink Next Door, the first episode, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5 Paul Rudd hair pieces.
Whoa, Paul. Sexiest man alive, Paul Rudd. He's earned it. Staying that good looking this long, We've seen him since Clueless back in the freaking 90s, for gosh sakes. Tommy Doyle, Halloween 6. Yep. Paul Rudd's back. He was the biggest draw for me in the show. Paul Rudd in anything. I love seeing the guy. He just seems like an everyday guy, kind of a cool guy that you'd like to meet. Speaking of that, Uncle Logan's met him. Yeah, ran into him, and he was just as nice as you imagine.
Yeah, cool. Very fucking cool. Very nice and down to earth, and not a celebrity at all. Ran into him in Vegas on a weird Thursday night, but I'll never forget the way that Paul looked at me that night.
You are the wind beneath my wings. I had a great time too with this. It wasn't what I expected, like I mentioned before, but seeing these guys on the screen is enough to watch it, and I can't wait to see where the story goes. It was also great to see Kathryn Hahn in this role too, different from, what we're used to seeing her come on and again, provide more of the comedic tone, but we've seen her in some serious stuff, and we've obviously seen her just in WandaVision. So she's knocking out of the park in everything she does. And this is just another example playing Marty's sister. I will definitely be tuning in to the rest of the episodes. Apple TV Plus released the first 3 episodes on Friday. So you guys can watch the first 3 and then get ready for episode 4. And then there'll be one a week, following that. So I also am going to give The Shrink Next Door, starring our good pals Will Ferrell and Uncle Paul Rudd, the sexiest man alive, a 3.5 out of 5 Will Ferrell cowbell pieces.
So I want to hear what you guys thought about the brand new series and episode of The Shrink Next Door on Apple TV Plus. The two comedic geniuses. One's a superhero, the other's just a really cool guy. And what you're looking forward to the rest of the season. Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, throughout the entire month of November and the holiday season. We're going to be doing lots of groovy movie reviews and TV reviews and doing some Christmas stuff as well. So be on the lookout for that.
Ho, ho, ho. There's going to be another Fellas giveaway very soon. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Dropping out on YouTube any day now. Keep your eyes peeled for more great content from us. These two psychoanalysts have to go back to our chairs. We have clients waiting outside. Had a great time reviewing The Shrink Next Door, Apple TV Plus exclusive, starring Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell. 3.5 out of 5 hair pieces from the both of us. Very excited to see where the rest of the series goes. We can't wait to hear what you guys thought of the show. Please leave comments. Let us know what you guys thought. And we love doing this for you guys. So until the next Cinephellas Apple TV Plus review, I'm Uncle Henry Hill.
And I'm Uncle Logan Myers.
And I'm going to bed. Cheese!